At 5:12 local time in the Strait of Hormuz, there was no warning, no buildup, only a sudden contact. Inside the USS Tripoli's operations center, a sharp radar return broke through the routine surface picture. One contact appeared first, moving fast, sitting low on the water, closing from the northeast. Seconds later, two more returns appeared, then five. Speed, 32 knots, bearing tightening, range dropping fast. No AIS signal, no identification broadcast, no course change. The watch officer in CIC did not hesitate. Multiple surface contacts closing fast. The words were calm, controlled, and flat. There was no need for a raised voice. Around him, the room shifted instantly from routine monitoring to precise tracking. No one spoke unless they had to. Hands moved across consoles. Radar resolution sharpened. Optical systems began turning toward the contacts. On the bridge, the officer of the deck received the update. The response stayed measured. No alarm, no sudden shift in tone. Just a simple order. Maintain course. Log everything. Below, the radar picture kept developing. 5 contacts were now confirmed. They were not scattered. They were not moving randomly. They were aligning. Their vectors began to converge not toward one clean intercept point, but into a pattern. A loose arc was forming ahead of Tripoli's projected path. Range, 3.4 nautical miles. Closing fast. Infrared systems locked on next. Heat signatures climbed. Engines were running hard, pushing the craft well beyond normal patrol speed. Their wakes stretched long and sharp across the surface, visible even before the hulls fully broke through the morning haze. Then the silhouettes appeared. Low hulls, narrow profiles, minimal superstructure. Fast, compact craft with no visible flags and no markings clear enough for positive identification. The shape was familiar, likely Iranian, but still unconfirmed, still unidentified. And in these waters, that difference matters. CPA under 2 miles, CIC called out. Time to closest approach, 6 minutes. No radio traffic, no acknowledgement, no response to presence calls. Just 5 vessels continuing to accelerate into position. On Tripoli's flight deck, the shift was immediate but controlled. Rotors turned on standby aircraft. Crew chiefs signaled without words. An AH-1Z Viper sat ready, systems powered, safety protocols active, waiting for orders that had not been given. Because no line had been crossed. Not yet. Back in CIC, the tracking lines tightened. The 5 contacts began to separate. 2 edged slightly to port. 2 mirrored the move to starboard. The 5th held the center line directly ahead of Tripoli's bow. This was not pursuit. It was not escort. It was geometry. A moving containment arc was forming in front of the ship. Contact group maneuvering with intent. The phrase was entered into the log. It did not need to be repeated. On the bridge, no one asked what it meant. They could see it for themselves. Tripoli adjusted course 4 degrees to starboard. Minimal. Measured. Just enough to test the pattern. The response came immediately. The center vessel shifted with her, matching the move and holding the intercept line. The arc tightened. Range, 2.1 nautical miles. The speed gap was shrinking. No visible systems were raised. No guidance radar was detected. But the behavior was unmistakable. This was not overlapping traffic. It was not an accidental convergence. It was deliberate positioning. Inside CIC, long-range optics zoomed in further. Movement on the decks became visible. Personnel aboard the craft wore helmets and vests, moving with purpose. Not rushed, not chaotic, but ready. Nothing was raised, not yet. Recommend initial hail. The suggestion was acknowledged. Approved. Bridge-to-bridge frequency opened. This is a United States naval vessel conducting transit in international waters. Unidentified contacts, you are approaching at high speed. Alter course immediately. The message went out clearly in English, then again in Farsi. There was no reply, no static, no acknowledgement, no hesitation in their movement. The 5 vessels continued closing, now inside 1.8 nautical miles. Their angles sharpened. Their wakes began to overlap. The arc was almost complete. Tripoli held steady, speed unchanged, course intact. No evasive maneuver, no escalation. The rules are clear: presence first, pressure second, action only if absolutely required. On the deck, the Viper stays ready. Engines hot, pilots strapped in, watching, waiting, not yet airborne. Inside CIC, one final update cuts through the silence. Contacts maintaining intercept geometry. Encirclement likely. No one reacts outwardly. They do not need to. The screen says enough. 5 fast craft. No identification, no communication, no course change. Moving in a coordinated formation around a U.S. Navy warship as it transits one of the most contested waterways on Earth. Range, 1.6 nautical miles and closing. No response, no separation, only movement, only intent. A perimeter forming in real time. The question is no longer whether they are testing Tripoli. The question is how far they are willing to take it. 5:18 local time. Still no separation. Still no sign of de-escalation. The distance keeps shrinking. Inside the Combat Information Center, the surface picture compresses into a tight cluster of vectors and wake signatures. 5 fast craft are now operating within a 1.2 nautical mile radius of USS Tripoli. Speed holding above 30 knots. Relative motion converging. No deviation. No response to hails. The bridge transmits again. This is a United States naval vessel. You are conducting unsafe maneuvers in international waters. Alter course immediately. English first, then Farsi. Clean transmission, full power. No reply. Not missed. Rejected. The pattern sharpens. 2 vessels push closer along Tripoli's port side, narrowing the lateral gap. Their wakes begin to cross the ship's projected track, tightening the available space without making contact. On the starboard side, the mirror image forms. 2 more boats accelerate slightly ahead, then angle inward. Not blocking, not colliding, just shaping the water around the ship. The 5th vessel holds forward position, directly ahead, adjusting speed in short bursts. 32 knots down to 28, then back up again, forcing Tripoli's navigation team to keep recalculating. This is not random pressure. This is control through movement. CPA now under 1 nautical mile. The call is precise, flat, controlled. Time to CPA, less than 4 minutes. On the flight deck, the decision is made. Launch helo. No delay, no buildup, just execution. The MH-60 Seahawk lifts cleanly from the deck, its rotors cutting through the still morning air. It banks immediately, low and fast, turning toward the contact cluster. Altitude 300 feet. Speed increasing. Sensors active before it clears Tripoli's forward arc. Back in CIC, the live feed comes online. Forward-looking infrared locks onto the nearest vessel. Engine heat blooms bright against the cooler water. Hull details sharpen. Crew movement becomes visible. There is no confusion now. Unmarked Iranian fast craft, recognized, tracked, documented. The Seahawk drops lower, down to 200 feet above the waterline. Close enough to be seen, far enough to remain controlled. Its presence changes the geometry almost immediately. 1 vessel shifts slightly. Logged, another reduces speed. Barely. Still in formation, still closing. Contacts painting us. Electronic warfare confirms it. Low-power radar sweeps are coming from the Iranian boats. Search mode. Not targeting mode, but active. They are watching, measuring, tracking. At 800 meters, the maneuvering intensifies. 1 Iranian boat cuts across Tripoli's bow at a hard angle, throwing a sharp wake across the water. Distance compresses to under 600 meters. No contact, but close enough to demand attention. Close enough to test the response. Tripoli holds course. Not yet. The Seahawk moves into position, offset to the side. Its camera systems zoom in. Every movement on the Iranian decks is now captured, time-stamped, geolocated, and stored. This is no longer just presence. This is evidence. Then comes the signal. A green laser pulses from the Seahawk and lands across the forward vessel's bridge windows. Steady. Visible, impossible to ignore. Not a strike system, but a message. You are being watched. You are being recorded. The broadcast follows immediately. Iranian naval vessels. This is a United States Navy aircraft. You are operating unsafely. Alter course now, or you will be classified as a threat contact. English first, then Farsi. No emotion, no raised tone, no unnecessary pressure. Just a clear warning delivered with absolute control. For the first time, the movement changes. Subtle, but real. The forward vessel drops from 30 knots to 27, then 25. Its wake shortens. The angle softens. The boats on the port side hesitate. They do not fully break formation, but they stop tightening the gap. The starboard vessels mirror the shift. Still close, still dangerous, but no longer closing in. Speed reduction observed. Logged, confirmed, not assumed. The Seahawk holds position and circles once, wide and controlled. Its shadow moves across the Iranian deck. Crew members below look up. Some step back. One raises an arm. A signal maybe. A warning maybe. It does not matter. It is recorded. Back aboard Tripoli, the ship's posture stays unchanged. No hard lock, no aggressive turn, no sudden move. Just presence, just control. Distance stabilizes. 700 meters. Holding. No longer shrinking, but not increasing either. Not yet. The formation remains intact. The vessels are still close, still surrounding, still inside the perimeter they created. But something has changed. Not retreat, not resolution, hesitation. Inside CIC, the update comes through. Encirclement holding, compression halted. A pause, measured, silent. 5 vessels, 1 U.S. Navy warship. No direct exchange, no visible impact, but the geometry has stopped tightening. And in this kind of moment, that is the first break. 5:22 local time. The break does not last. One Iranian fast craft suddenly surges forward. No warning, no signal, just acceleration. From 24 knots to more than 30 in seconds. Its bow lifts slightly as the engines push hard, cutting across the water toward Tripoli's starboard side. Direct intercept course. Contact braking formation. The call is instant, sharp, precise. On the CIC display, the vessel's vector redraws. It is no longer part of the containment arc. Now it is a single line aimed at Tripoli's projected track, CPA dropping. 500 meters and decreasing. Time to closest point, under 2 minutes. On the bridge, there is no hesitation. Helm orders are ready, but not executed. Tripoli holds course, speed unchanged, because the line has still not been crossed, not clearly. The Iranian craft closes fast. Its wake grows heavier. Spray kicks high along the hull. Through optical zoom, the details sharpen. Crew on deck, helmets on, bodies braced, one figure near the forward mount, nothing raised, but ready. Recommend evasive maneuver. The suggestion comes from CIC, calm, controlled, not urgent, not yet. Stand by. The reply is just as measured. No deviation, because a sudden move now could create more risk than it removes. Above the water, the Seahawk reacts instantly. It banks hard left, dropping from 200 feet to just over 150. Its nose points toward the accelerating vessel. Camera locked, tracking tight. The helicopter closes the lateral gap, moving between Tripoli and the incoming craft, not blocking it. Not provoking it, just owning the space above it. The Iranian vessel does not slow. Not yet. Distance, 400 meters, closing. Inside the Seahawk, the sensor operator tightens the image. Thermal readings spike. Engine heat burns bright. Crew movement is fast and focused. There is no confusion on that deck. They know exactly what they are doing. Laser on. A green pulse cuts through the morning haze and lands across the vessel's bridge windows. Steady, unblinking, impossible to miss. At the same moment, the Seahawk drops lower, now under 120 feet. Rotor wash disturbs the surface below. Ripples spread outward beneath the aircraft. The message is no longer subtle. Iranian vessel, alter course immediately. Broadcast, clear, firm, repeated in Farsi. Distance, 300 meters, the closest point yet. Still no contact, but almost no margin left. Tripoli remains steady. No turn, no reduction in speed. Tripoli's defensive mounts shift only a few degrees, just enough to be noticed. Not enough to push the moment further. The Iranian vessel gives one more burst of speed. Then comes the change. Small, but decisive. Throttle drops from 30 knots to 26, then 24. The bow dips slightly as momentum begins to bleed off. The intercept angle softens. The craft has not abandoned its course completely, but it is no longer fully committed. Speed reduction confirmed. CIC logs it immediately. No assumptions, only data. The Seahawk holds directly overhead now. Its shadow cuts across the Iranian deck. Crew members look up. One shields his eyes, another steps back from the forward position. The green marker stays fixed. No flicker, no drift. A constant presence, a constant warning. At 250 meters, the closest point of the encounter, the Iranian vessel begins a slow turn to starboard. Only a few degrees, but enough. Enough to break the direct intercept line. CPA stabilizing, increasing. The numbers shift slowly but clearly. Tripoli still does not move. No correction, no chase. No sudden response, just presence, just control. Behind the lead vessel, the other 4 Iranian craft react. The formation begins to loosen, spacing opens. The coordinated pressure starts to fade. Not a full withdrawal, but no longer a compression. The Seahawk circles once, wide and measured, never losing visual contact. Every second is recorded. Every movement is captured. The intercept attempt is over. No collision, no contact, no system deployed. But the margin was razor thin. Seconds, meters, one choice away from a very different outcome. Inside CIC, the final update is entered. Intercept attempt disrupted. Formation integrity degraded. Flat, clinical, final. 5 vessels remain nearby, still present, still watching. But one of them tested the line and pulled back at the last possible moment. 5:27 local time. The formation begins to drift. Not breaking, not leaving, but no longer tightening. Inside the Combat Information Center, the surface picture changes. Subtle shifts in vector spacing, slight reductions in relative speed, wider angles between the 5 Iranian fast craft. Nothing dramatic, nothing sudden, but enough to register. Contact group spacing increasing. Logged. Confirmed. The lead vessel, the same one that broke formation minutes earlier, has now fallen back into alignment. It is no longer at the front, no longer pressing. It sits offset, watching. Tripoli maintains course, speed steady, no correction, no pursuit. Because control is not always shown by movement. Sometimes it is shown by not needing to move at all. Above the ship, the Seahawk climbs from 120 feet to 300, then higher, expanding its orbit and widening its field of view. Still tracking, still recording, but no longer forced into a close containment position. On deck, the next layer comes online. A second helicopter, another MH-60, begins to spin up. There is no urgency in the motion, but no delay either. Moments later, it lifts clean from the deck, climbing fast into a higher orbit, 500 feet, then 800. Overwatch established, 2 aircraft now, 2 angles, full visual coverage. Below, the Iranian vessels adjust, their wakes shorten. Speeds drop from the high 20s into the low 20s. Still maneuvering, still close, but the pressure is fading. Speed reduction across multiple contacts. CIC logs the pattern, not isolated, not accidental. The geometry dissolves. The arc that had been tightening around Tripoli begins to open. Portside vessels widen first. The starboard units follow. The forward vessel no longer holds the center line. It drifts off angle, no longer shaping the encounter. The pressure is gone, but the proximity remains. Then, for the first time, the radio breaks with static. A voice comes through, measured, controlled, accented. This is Iranian naval unit conducting patrol operations in the vicinity of national waters. You are advised to alter your course. No identification, no call sign, no acknowledgement of the earlier maneuvers, just assertion. On Tripoli's bridge, the response is immediate. Not loud, not aggressive, precise. Iranian vessels. This is a United States naval ship conducting lawful transit in international waters. Your maneuvers have been recorded. Maintain safe distance. English first, then repeated. No escalation in tone, no extra commentary. Silence returns. But the message has landed. Below, the Iranian vessels continue their gradual separation. They are not fully leaving, but they are no longer shaping the space around Tripoli, no longer controlling the angles. Distance increases, 700 meters, 900 meters, then beyond 1 nautical mile. Encirclement no longer active. CIC confirms it. Final. The Seahawk completes another orbit, higher now, wider now. Its presence is less immediate, but still visible, still watching. The second helicopter stabilizes overhead. The sensor systems continue sweeping. No blind spots. No gaps. Tripoli moves forward without interruption, without being pushed off course. No increase in speed, no change in heading, because there is no need. The water ahead is open. Behind the ship, the Iranian vessels settle into loose parallel movement. No formation, no intercept lines, no pressure pattern, just presence. The encounter is ending, not with a dramatic break, with a shift. Inside CIC, the logs begin to finalize. Every radar sweep, every change in speed, every second of close-range movement is stored, time-stamped, and archived. No direct exchange, no visible damage, no escalation triggered, but control has changed hands. The 5 vessels remain visible, still within sensor range, still present, but they are no longer shaping the encounter, no longer setting the terms. Tripoli continues through the strait, steady and unchanged. Behind it, the perimeter that never fully closed begins to dissolve. 5:35 local time. The surface of the water settles. From a distance, nothing appears different. No scattered debris, no smoke, no visible sign that 5 fast craft had just moved within a razor-thin margin of a U.S. Navy vessel transiting one of the most contested waterways on Earth. Inside the Combat Information Center, the screens stay active. Nothing is powered down, nothing is dismissed, because the moment is not over. It is being processed. Every radar return remains on record. Every bearing change, every speed fluctuation, every second of proximity has been logged, time-stamped, and stored. The Seahawk returns first, descending from its orbit. 500 feet, 300, then lower. It lines up with the deck and touches down cleanly. Rotors still turning, crew already moving. Data offload begins immediately. Sensor packages are checked, memory modules secured, because the most important part of the encounter is no longer outside the ship. It is inside the data. Minutes later, the second helicopter follows. It leaves its higher orbit and returns under the same procedure with the same priority. Nothing is left unrecorded. Nothing is left open to interpretation. Below deck, analysis begins in real time. Video feeds are replayed, thermal signatures reviewed, movement patterns reconstructed frame by frame, not for speculation, for precision. 5 fast craft coordinated maneuver. The summary is entered, flat, clinical, exact. Initial containment pattern established at 0514. Intercept attempt at 0522. De-escalation observed at 0527. Each timestamp is exact. Each phase is defined. No one needs to ask whether it was intentional. The pattern answers for itself. This was not random traffic, not miscommunication, not a navigation mistake. It was a test. Outside, the Iranian vessels remain on radar. Range now beyond 2 nautical miles. Still present, still tracking. but no longer closing. Tripoli does not pursue, does not shadow, does not respond beyond observation. Because the objective has already been met. Control was maintained without escalation. On the bridge, the posture remains unchanged. No visible reaction, no drawn-out discussion, no shift in tone. Because in this environment, the result is measured differently. Not by impact, not by damage, but by position, by timing, by who forced movement and who never had to move. The Iranian boats tested the boundary. 5 vessels, coordinated approach, no identification, no communication, no deviation. They shaped the space, compressed it, and reduced the reaction window to seconds. Then they stopped, not because the ship gave way, not because the route changed, but because the response was enough. Above them, aircraft they could not ignore. Ahead of them, a U.S. Navy vessel that did not yield. Around them, every movement captured and preserved. No uncertainty, no room to rewrite the moment later. Inside Tripoli systems, the encounter is already complete, packaged, filed, ready for review beyond the ship. Because in modern naval operations, what happens is only part of the equation. What can be proven is everything. The Strait of Hormuz remains open. Tripoli continues transit, speed unchanged, heading steady. Behind it, 5 vessels drift farther apart, no longer acting as one unit, no longer holding formation, just separate contacts fading across the radar picture. No public announcement, no confirmation from either side. But the line was there. And it was touched. One side tested how close it could get. The other showed how far it could go without giving ground. No direct exchange, no emergency beyond controlled procedure. But the outcome is clear. Presence held, pressure absorbed, control retained. And next time, the distance may close again, faster, tighter, with even less room to decide. Because in these waters, confrontation does not always begin with noise. It begins with movement, with silence, with intent. And this time, intent was enough.